Welcome to NFL Total Access. I'm MJ Acosta-Ruiz. Week 1 is officially in the books. We're going to break down the good, the great, and try not to overreact, you guys. Listen, this starts with a very hyped discussion on Tom Brady. Has the 6-time Super Bowl champ lost it? James Jones defends himself. We're hitting the fantasy waiver wire with Adam Brank. He's telling you who to stash and stay away from. And a running back, that's a must pick up. And week 2 officially off under the lights. Thursday Night Football coming up. Heisman winner versus Heisman winner. Burrow versus Baker. We go inside the playbook on this primetime matchup. But first, we start with another AFC North team. Steelers at Giants. The return of Ben Roethlisberger after missing 14 games last year. Second quarter, Steelers ball, 1-score game. 3rd and 7 at the Giants 10. Big Ben hits Juju Smith-Schuster for a 10-yard TD. That was Roethlisberger's first passing touchdown since Week 17 of 2018. Fourth quarter, Steelers offense on the field. 3rd and 4 at the Giants 9. Roethlisberger to Juju one more time. Schuster finished with 6 receptions for 69 yards and 2 touchdowns. Pittsburgh scored 23 consecutive points after trailing. Never looked back. Here's Big Ben.
You know, I told the guys before the game, it's not about me and individually. The reason I came back is for these guys, for this team. It's a special group of football players and men. And so I'm just thankful to be a part of it. I feel great right now. Obviously, adrenaline is still probably pumping, and we won the game. I'm going to be sore tomorrow. There's no doubt. I got some bumps and bruises, but in terms of elbow and everything else, I feel really good right now.
And Big Ben showing he's still got it. When it comes to best win percentage on Monday Night Football, Roethlisberger tops the list among QBs with a .789 percentage and a 15-4 record on Monday nights, and very good company there with quite a few Hall of Famers. So let's get into this, guys, bringing in Michael Robinson and Sean O'Hara. I mean, Big Ben looks pretty good. M-Rob, what did you like from Ben Roethlisberger in his first came back after that season-ending elbow injury?
Yeah, MJ, he started a little slow, but, you know, he finished up the game very efficiently. The offense looked like it was having fun again. He was improvising. I thought it showed great promise that he was able to stand in the pocket a few times, take some hits, and deliver the football down the football field. But at the end of the day, this Pittsburgh Steelers team is built by tough defense and running the football. And I thought Benny Snell, he made a tremendous statement last night, running the ball for 19 times for 113 yards, over 5 yards a carry. He looks to be the guy to be more like the every down back, or at least the first and second down back with James Conner. And I hate to say this, great guy, great individual, but he just can't stay healthy right now. I don't know if he can take the rigors of being the lead back week in and week out. So maybe you have James Conner come off the bench and spell Benny Snell every so often. But at the end of the day, this Pittsburgh Steelers team look like it's having fun again with Big Ben Roethlisberger out there.
Ooh, and on the other side of the night, man.
No, MJ, we sat here at this exact same time last week talking about this Steelers-Giants matchup, and the biggest concern with Saquon was really the negative runs. Could the front, could the offensive line and the tight ends up front keep this Steelers defense out of the backfield? And the answer to that was no. Now, when you watch the film, the offensive line played much better than I thought they did when I watched it live, but the tight ends really struggled. Let's look at the point of attack. Left side of the screen right here. All right, these two tight ends should have combo blocked up to 34. Instead, Evan Ingram gets bookend. His other tight end hangs him on the drive, releases up for the corner. Nowhere for Saquon to go. Okay, fine. 2 tight ends didn't work. Let's go 3 tight ends, right? 3 tight end formation. You have those stacked defenders and that inside backer. Only problem, M-Rob, is look at this. We got 6 hands on the down guy, and nobody's looking at the linebacker that's running through the C-gap. Yeah. That's your man. Toilolo, 85. Come on, you got a decleater right there. All right, linebacker running through the hole. That's a decleated block. It doesn't get any easier than that. All right, this is a run play to the left. Left guard, left tackle, have those stacked 2 defenders right there. That means the other 2 tight ends, guess what? You have Bud Dupree and the corner, Evan Ingram. Release outside, block the corner. Watch what happens. All right, look, Evan Ingram's tripping over himself. They've got a corner unblocked, which forces him back into the pursuit rushers. Saquon had unblocked defenders on his side of the line of scrimmage all night long, 8 negative runs. That's what the Giants can't do. The tight ends have to play better. I think they will play better. But, look, they're not going to get a breather. They're playing the Bears this week, so you've got some pretty good edge defenders there. But Saquon is the key to that offense, MJ. They've got to get him running, and then the blitz pickup was atrocious. The Steelers didn't run any exotic blitzes, but the Giants really struggled to pick up the simple nickel Sam, nickel Will blitzes. They got to iron that out.
And just to underscore that, Saquon, 6 rush yards, 6 single digits, are tied for second fewest from a player with 15 or more carries in the Super Bowl era. I mean, just incredible. All right, we will keep it in the AFC North for Thursday Night Football. Bengals at Browns. Our coach Brian Billick says this is a must-win for both coaches. He rarely says that and explains why later when we open the playbook on the starting QBs. Now, Thursday Night Football is an NFL Network exclusive featuring 2 Heisman Trophy winners. Our coverage begins 6 Eastern. All right, let's get you to that other game. Titans at Broncos. Denver QB Drew Lock went 4-1 last season as a starter. Fourth quarter, Broncos ball trailing 13-7. It's 2nd and goal at the 1. Melvin Gordon powers his way into the end zone for the touchdown. New team, new dance moves. Broncos take the 1-point lead. 20 seconds left now. 1-point game. Steven Gostkowski missed 4 field goals already, but makes the one that counts the most, 25-yarder, and a big exhale from him and the Titans. The kick is good. The Titans win. And according to Next Gen Stats, Gostkowski had a 0.06% chance of missing 3 field goals and at least 1 extra point. Let's get into the ways what we learned after week 1. Let's welcome in James Jones and D'Angelo Hall to the party. What are your biggest takeaways, guys? James Jones, start us off.
My biggest takeaway is football is back, and what really stood out to me is you have to play the football games. You can talk all you want in the off season. We added this, we did this, we got this, but you have to go out and play the football games. My biggest takeaway: week 1, the Redskins are in first place. The Jacksonville Jaguars are in first place. The Arizona Cardinals are in first place. These are teams that everybody had at the bottom of the division, did not listen to the noise, know what they have in the locker room, and came out there on Sunday and went to work. You have to play the football games. It don't matter who on your schedule, who on your roster. It does not matter. Jacksonville traded away. Their whole team still came out there and was able to bounce up and beat the Indianapolis Colts. You have to play the football game. Do not read your press clippings.
Hey, my biggest takeaway is Kyler Murray is the real deal. I mean, I think we all expected the San Francisco 49ers to go out there and dominate this football game, right? I expected that defense to be exactly what they were last year, but man, Kyler Murray, Cliff Kingsbury, this offense looked amazing. Kyler Murray ran when he had to. He made plays. Look, you don't make a guy like Richard Sherman just miss. I mean, this offense looked explosive, and I tell you what, it was money well spent going and getting that young man DeAndre Hopkins, because that chemistry between those 2 guys, Kyler Murray was decisive in making decisions. And look, these guys missed on a couple throws too. When they really start to get that chemistry built, man, the sky's the limit for this offense. The sky's the limit for Kyler Murray. You know, I did a crystal ball segment on GMFB Weekend where I picked Russell Wilson as my MVP. A couple weeks earlier, I picked Kyler Murray, and so I think one of them 2 guys definitely are off to a great start this season.
Well, guys, my biggest takeaway actually didn't happen on the field. It's something that happened in the booth, D'Angelo Hall's booth, actually. Check this out.
Go get it! Go get it! He was looking.
We needed that.
Jalen Rager, yes. But it is picked off by Fabian Moreau at the 42-yard line. And so Washington gets the play they needed, and they take over in Philadelphia territory.
I like to take a little credit for that one there, Bram. I taught that young man. You hear me?
Did you?
I taught that young man, go get the football. Carson just floats one out there in the flats, and Fabian Moreau goes and makes a play. That is what you needed. Right before the half, we got some momentum, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go.
All right, one of the best parts of that. It was all moves, C-Hall.
I see that was in
Hey, I was hyped. I was hyped. Hey, we were down 17-0. We needed a play to be made. That was my little young grasshopper, and he went and made a play. They needed a play, James. You know how it is when you just got to have somebody make a play.
I'm not mad at it, you guys.
And what I love is he took you back to your young grasshopper days when you used to be clubbing and you was up there in the Smyrna up there. I see you.
All right, guys. So we're going to check in with you in a little bit. Work on those dance moves a little more, D-Hall. Let's get you caught up on our latest headlines. We are bringing in Tom Pelissero with more on Michael Thomas. What can you tell us, Tom?
Oh, MJ, what we have just learned is that Saints star receiver Michael Thomas's high ankle injury is worse than originally believed. The expectation now is that Thomas will miss at least the next several weeks. Now, Thomas is as tough as they come. He surely is going to try to beat that timeline, but it is going to be a battle for him. No injured reserve move yet with him. High ankle sprains can often be 4 to 6 weeks. Remember, the Saints have a week 6 bye. We'll see if he can get back before that. Meanwhile, another star player we know will miss the next several weeks, Jets running back Le'Veon Bell, who landed on injured reserve after suffering a hamstring injury in the season opener against the Bills. A big disappointment here for the Jets because they felt that Bell was in really good shape. For now, it will be Frank Gore, 37 years old, the third all-time leading rusher in NFL history, leading the way in that backfield. They also signed Kalen Ballage, who was with Adam Gase in Miami, to help fill out the depth chart, MJ.
Tom, Allen Robinson, unhappy in Chicago. Where do things stand right now with the receiver and the Bears?
MJ, I just spoke with Allen Robinson's agent, Brandon Parker, who wanted to make very clear Allen Robinson has not requested a trade. However, what I can tell you in speaking to people close to the situation is that Robinson is frustrated by the state of talks on a new contract extension. He feels like he has been disrespected and that the Bears' offers to this point have not reflected his fair market value. Now, the Bears have a history of locking up their core players, from Akeem Hicks to Danny Trevathan to Kyle Fuller to Bobby Massey. You can go on down the list. This negotiation has proven to be more challenging, so stay tuned on that situation. One receiver who does have a new team, Mo Sanu, the former Falcon, the former Patriot, signing a one-year deal with the 49ers. He is reunited with Kyle Shanahan, who was his offensive coordinator in Atlanta. 49ers tried to trade for Sanu last year at the trade deadline. They got Emmanuel Sanders instead. That worked out pretty well, but after the Patriots released Sanu, now he heads to the Bay.
All right, Tom Pelissero, thank you. And you mentioned Michael Thomas here, have some other notable injuries from around the league. Colts running back Marlon Mack is out for the season with an Achilles. Browns tight end David Njoku out indefinitely with a knee. For the Cowboys, tight end Blake Jarwin out for the season with an ACL. And linebacker Leighton Vander Esch is out 6 to 8 weeks with a broken clavicle.
Another round of players only. I'm Real Mike Robb. I'm here with James Jones, Sean O'Hara, and D'Angelo Hall. Now, James... Yeah, bro, on the call earlier, and actually goes back further before the call earlier. You've been saying this for some time now, that Tom Brady has lost it, okay? He lost it last year, and now we're seeing him not be the GOAT of himself this year. Come on, man, explain yourself. We got to hear it, man. What's up?
Well, first off, let me say this, because it's always hard when one of the great players in our league starts falling off. It's always hard for us to realize that it's over. But for Tom Brady, man, listen to this. For Tom Brady, the last 10 games, and we can all agree that with the Patriots last season, they had the best defense in football. It was easy. And listen, they rolled the tape before I even came and talked. But listen, Tom Brady, all right, last 10 games, he is 27th in completion percentage. He is 22nd ranked in passing yards. He's 19th in touchdown passes. He's 18th in touchdown to interception ratio. Passer rating, he's 26th in the National Football League. In the last 10 games, he stepped on the football field. And then you look at the win percentage. He is dead last in win percentage with Baker Mayfield. Let me say that again. He's dead last in winning percentage with Baker Mayfield. And listen, everybody wants with Tom Brady, it's the receivers doing this, the receivers doing that. In New England, they couldn't get open. In Tampa, it's miscommunication. Who says it ain't on Tom? Why the miscommunication got to be on the receiver? Tom has lost it, and I know it's hard to go. He has lost it. The last 10 times he stepped on the field, he has not played up to the part. I should take all the time so y'all can't say nothing.
Because you know we all right. That's why you want to take all the time. Hey, look, man, that's a whole lot to chew on. But let's be real here, man. Tom Brady, you telling me, let me tell you about last year. Last year, if you look at his receivers, okay, look at his receivers. They couldn't get open, James. You should know something about that. Even your best friend, Aaron Rodgers, couldn't have threw the ball to those guys. And we talk about Tampa Bay. Yes, we all saw the game. Tom Brady made some mistakes, right? He was late on that throw to the flat that Janoris Jenkins picked off and took to the house. He shouldn't have probably thrown that skinny post to Mike Evans because there was a guy underneath. And so, yes, Mike quit on the route. But this is stuff that just a little bit more time and chemistry, man, will work all these bugs out. Tom can still make every single throw on that football field and has the sharpest mind I've ever seen. Come on, man. Don't compare him with no Baker Mayfield.
Hey, that's what it shows. Man. That's what the stat shows. But listen, you came on and said, all I hear is it's the receiver's fault again. For the last 10 games, it's the receiver's fault. It's not Tom Brady. I don't understand. He is not making the throws. People are open.
What? Hey, listen, this is players only, right? So we're in a locker right now. And you know, guys, we've all been there, right? All right, somebody went out last night, clearly, all right? And now they're wilding out, and they don't know what they're doing. JJ, you all right, man? All right, we got to bring you in here, man. You're yelling. You're rattling off fantasy stats. Don't nobody care about that. Look, JJ, I know you like golf, okay? Great golfers sometimes have a double bogey on the first hole. Does that mean that they're going to lose the tournament? Hell no, all right? Tom Brady, look, I go back to 2017. You want to get some statistics out here? All right, 2017, the Patriots got rolled up on by the Chiefs. Tom Brady stunk it up, all right? He went on a tear. The next 3 games threw 10 touchdown passes. Nobody bounces back better than Tom Brady. So this was one game. D. Hall, you just talked about those 2 throws. Look, Mike Evans hung him out to dry by breaking his route off. JJ, you know that's a no-no. And then the late throw to Jackrabbit. Look, you can't miss late inside like that. You lead the receiver. If you miss it out of bounds. It's an incompletion. We're going to blow up Tom Brady over one game? Yeah, forget about those stats at Baker Mayfield. You know what he has? He's got championships. He's got rings. That pedigree is why they brought him down to Tampa Bay. I can't believe you're getting off the Brady train after one game against a good defense.
Listen, I've been off the Brady train for the last 10 games, like I just explained to y'all. And you over here saying, hey, you can't throw that ball in the inside. You got to throw it on the outside. That has nothing to do with timing. That's Tom throwing the ball in the inside. Over the last 10 games, this is what he put on the football field. Y'all talking about bounce back. He had 10 games to bounce back. And this is what he put on tape.
James.
He's the
James. This is only an hour show, bro. You took the whole time. I couldn't even talk, okay? MJ, you got to take this, okay? Because, you know what? Something happened to James today, clearly.
Balling out in his Seahawks debut. D'Angelo Hall and Michael Robinson with me now as we get into this game. And M-Rob, you know Russell better than most people. You won a Super Bowl together. He was in complete control. How good is this Seahawks team?
Oh, man. If you continue to let Russell Wilson cook, this Seahawks team can take this thing all the way to the Super Bowl, all the way to the championship. And I remember when Russell Wilson used to be my teammate, he always couldn't wait until the 2-minute time of games because that's when he was in total control, staying on the attack mode. Just like that deep pass that you guys saw on the screen there to DK Metcalf for that touchdown on a 4th and 1. That embodies what that let Russ cook mode means. That just stay on the attack all the time. Okay, 322 passing yards. What I don't like is the fact that he led the team in rushing. What I don't like is that leader in rushing was only 29 yards, right? I would like for the Seahawks to have more of a ground presence. But at the end of the day, if you have Russell Wilson on your team, you always have a chance.
That's never surprising when Russ leads the team in rushing, though. All right, Jamal Adams had himself a game on Sunday. D'Angelo Hall, can you take us through his impact on the Seahawks defense?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we got a little bit of tape that's going to show y'all a little bit of that. So you watch Jamal Adams, man. Right here, he's just playing a little bit of chess with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan doesn't know if he's coming or if he's going back. So Matt Ryan slides the protection the other way. gives Jamal Adams a chance to just kind of catch him off guard. Even Todd Gurley's fooled by this rush. And Jamal's able to get in there and lay a nice hit on Matt Ryan for his first sack of the game. And then this play right here, Jamal's walking down into the box. He has his corner outside that's going to set the edge. Jamal gets off that block, and he's able to wrap up Calvin Ridley in the open field. One of the hardest tackles to make in football. Now here, he's a curl flat defender. He sees run for a second, or what he seems to be run. He gets sucked up, but what does he do? He panic drops out, eyes on the quarterback. He sees Matt Ryan throw it to the flats, and he makes a tackle on Todd Gurley, still one of the most elusive running backs in the game. That's why you brought Jamal Adams here, for impact plays like that, man. I didn't think this defense had enough to win a championship. I don't know. They look really good against a very explosive Falcons offense.
And guys, Jamal Adams, not just that impact, but also seems to be that spark from a defense not that long ago that Emrah probably remembers pretty well in Seattle. Guys, thank you.
He runs a quarterback draw. Trey Hopkins with a great pass. The 10, 5, touchdown. As Joe Burrow's first NFL touchdown comes on a 23-yard run on a beautifully called quarterback draw.
Shoved the running back. Mayfield stumbles. He throws into the corner of the end zone. Touchdown! David Njoku wide open in the left corner of the end zone.
And let's take a closer look here at how these two guys really match up, Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield, how they compared actually in week 1. Both of them, well, they lost the first games of the year, neck and neck in completions, and they're separated by just 4 passing yards right there. Oof, that is close. So this game right here, I definitely want to dive in. Coach Billick, our Super Bowl winning coach, joining us today. Joe Burrow had, well, they had the marching for the game winning drive there, but what did you really see from the Bengals QB in his NFL debut, Coach?
Well, all in all, it was solid for a young quarterback, but the problem was he didn't take enough shots down the field until too late in the game. He averaged only 4.4 yards per attempt. And here's an example of what I'm talking about. He's in an empty 3-by-2 set. He's got 3 receivers at the bottom of the screen, and he's got 1 safety over the top. They're going to go 3 verticals. So just by the number count, you can tell he has a shot down the field, particularly here at the bottom of the screen. Now, what does he do? He doesn't even look there. He immediately drops the ball off. Now, I'm all for taking a profit. I get it. But you got to eventually take the throw down the field, which he does. Now, this is inside the last drive, inside the 2 minutes, where he has to make the throw. This is a tough throw. This is simple high-low, runs a dig in behind it. This is a hard throw in between these 3 defenders, and he completes it. So he's capable of doing this. He's just got to do it in the body of the game and not wait for the last 2 minutes. Again, you're going to see a difficult throw here, a vertical on the outside, a little out of a slot man. This is a tough throw because he's bracketed. 3 defenders have him triangled in, but he throws it right where it has to be successful. So Joe Burrow is capable of these kind of throws. The problem is he's got to do it during the course of the game. You can't just do it in the last drive. Otherwise, you run the risk of bleeding to death slowly, so to speak, because you're not going to get a lot of 10, 12, 13 play drives in the NFL to score.
Coach, it seemed like when it comes to Baker Mayfield, it was more of the same. Inconsistent, a lot of what we saw last year. What needs to change, and how can Coach Stefanski really get the most out of his QB?
Well, the big question was, were we going to see the Baker Mayfield of the second half of 2018 or what we saw in 2019? And based on this week, it's what we saw last week, which is a 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio in critical situations, not being able to get it done, particularly on 3rd down. They actually ran the ball pretty well. Now, the Ravens were up and down the field, so, you had to kind of catch up. So that's not fair. And again, yes, he is on his 4th coach and his 3rd coordinators. We've talked about this a million times. But at the end of the day, he's got the receivers around, and he's got the ability to step up and make these, particularly in critical situations. And how about the pressure on Kevin Stefanski and Zach Taylor? I mean, we're in week 2, and you talk about a must-win. How about that for pressure in the NFL? Because on a Thursday night, these 2 teams are playing one another. You can't afford to lose to one of these types of teams because both these coaches are still trying to validate, yes, follow me, I'm the head coach, I know what I'm doing. Their players are looking at them. They want to know, indeed, can you lead us to where we need to go? If Cleveland loses to Cincinnati or Cincinnati loses to Cleveland, that's going to be a tough sell. So all but in week 2, this is as much of a must-win as we're going to see in the NFL all year long.
And there's that phrase we were waiting for, Coach, because actually of the 32 QBs with 50 or more pass attempts since the start of 2019, Baker Mayfield has the worst passer rating of them all. Coach Billick, thanks for your time and your insight as always. Let's bring in our Aditi Kinkhabwala with more on this Thursday night matchup. Now, you heard Coach Billick, Aditi, talk about Baker Mayfield. His #1 target, Odell Beckham Jr., underperformed as well. What did OBJ say today?
Well, as you talk about Baker Mayfield perhaps underperforming and OBJ being his #1 target, should he be the #1 target? And is he just throwing to him a little too much, MJ? That was essentially the question today, because these two guys, they are just not on the same page right now. Their timing is not accurate. It doesn't feel as if they trust each other that much. And OBJ's body language on Sunday, when I was at that game, MJ, not exactly what you're looking for. So I asked him today, I said, are you just the type of guy that needs to get going early? Do you need to be involved and feel impactful right away? And you know what? He said, absolutely. He said it's like a shooter who hits a 3 right away, and then, as he put it, God knows you might go off for 60. So then I went to Kevin Stefanski and I said, is it important to be a little more creative? Maybe throw him some specialty plays, maybe get him some screens, maybe do something to make him feel a little more involved. Well, Stefanski said certainly that is part of the job of the coaches, but he also said that the Browns have to get everybody involved, whether that's early, middle, or late. It is their responsibility to contribute when called upon. And MJ, look, the truth of the matter is here, this is not going to work if Mayfield and Beckham cannot get on the same page and cannot produce in the way that Browns fans expected when they were dancing in the street a year and a half ago.
Oh, yeah, they need to get the chemistry going, and yesterday, basically. Now, Joe Burrow graded himself with a D+ in his NFL debut. What should we expect from Burrow, though, Thursday night?
MJ, he didn't go any easier on himself today. He said that, look, he was terrible through the first 3 quarters, and as we just heard Coach Billick say, he was happy with what he did in that final 3-minute drive, that 14-play drive. But the key here, MJ, will be just as Coach Billick said to all of us, he needs to come out with that same sense of urgency. But here's the key thing. I said, he was asked today, Burrow was asked today, okay, you're playing Thursday, primetime, everybody in the country is watching you. Does that make it a bigger game? And MJ, he said no. He said the best quarterbacks treat every game exactly the same. So I guess the Bengals' hope is that he treats it like the...
Hopkins caught all of his targets on hitch and out routes, averaging 10.4 and 9.2 yards per target on those routes, respectively, against the San Francisco 49ers. James Jones, he knows a thing or two about racking up the yardage. JJ, what did you like about the way the Cardinals used D-Hop on Sunday?
Well, I loved how they moved him all over the field. And we know Hopkins can play in the inside, he can play on the outside, and he can make a bunch of plays. But it was interesting to see how the 49ers played him on the defensive side of the ball. You do not give one of the best receivers in the National Football League free releases the whole game. And that's what the San Francisco 49ers did. They let him release free down the football field the whole game. That's like taking candy from a baby for him and Kyler Murray. They never came up. They never pressed him. They never challenged him and got in his face. And this is what they got. Off coverage, we're going to take what's there. We're going to take these easy throws, the hitches, the stop routes, the in routes. And that's what made it easy on him. And when you get in a rhythm like that with DeAndre Hopkins, these are the type plays you're going to get. Yak after the catch, ball in your hand, but they did not challenge him. Him and Kyler Murray had their way all day long with off coverage, and that's the type of results you're going to get. So memo to the league. You better come up and challenge him, or Hopkins going to go off like that again.
James Jones sounding like he's trying to lace him up all over again. Thanks, JJ. Appreciate you. And Steelers running back James Conner left Monday night's game with an ankle injury. Head coach Mike Tomlin said today they'll leave a light on for Conner this week. So it sounds optimistic, but that leads us to this Fantasy Wire with Adam Rank. Adam is on loan from NFL Fantasy Live. Thanks for joining us. Let's talk some fantasy, though. The claims specifically that owners need to make right now, starting with Steelers running back Benny Snell, my favorite name of the week.
Absolutely, and that is who you need to pick up right now. He's available in 99% of NFL.com leagues, and what we saw out of him on Monday night was pretty good. He was kind of a sleeper coming into the season. People were apprehensive, which it kind of surprises me because we felt coming into this situation that James Conner's handcuff is going to need to be picked up. Another handcuff that needed to be picked up was Nyheim Hines. He's available in 99% of NFL.com leagues. Obviously, with Marlon Mack out for the season, his value is going to be increased. He will be splitting time with Jonathan Taylor. James Robinson, though, down in Duval County, Florida, available in 70% of NFL.com leagues. He had 66% of the snaps for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Anytime you can pick up a #1 running back on the waiver wire, you need to go out and do it. And speaking of #1 running backs, we weren't sure which Rams running back was going to end up being the dude, but apparently it's Malcolm Brown, who had close to 30 fantasy points on Sunday night. He rushed the ball 18 times. He had 3 receptions. He played 60% of the snaps. Most important, he was getting all the goal line snaps. And, of course, MJ, I'll just take myself to this. Michael Thomas, this is huge news. A lot of people are freaking out, and I understand. What you need to do is go to the waiver wire right now, see if Paris Campbell is available. Phillip Rivers loves him. He was a talented rookie last year. We expected a lot out of, but he should really flourish with Phillip Rivers. We also got Deontay Johnson, and you could probably look for Robbie Anderson of the Carolina Panthers. MJ?
All right, Adam Rank, I'm just going to give you my fantasy login, and you can take it from there.